Okay, folks, how you going? Neil Kelliher back again, and this is part of the Amazing Chase video series. The Amazing Chase. Okay, so the Amazing Chase, Dave versus Goliath. This is me here, Meep, the Roadrunner. This is the police here. Okay, so quick recap. They've chased me around the world for over 5 years in attempts to entrap me in order to, number one, get me to give them information that they believed I had about certain drug suppliers in Australia, and number two, to silence me from telling this story because I've been releasing, obviously, the evidence and the information against those who entrapped me, including the police that were involved. Okay, now this is episode 4, but it's a follow-up to episode 4. So I've already shot episode 4, revealing the culprits who turned informant and framed me back in 2019. 5 years it's been going now. So the informants who framed me, and obviously the police who were involved. But during that episode, I didn't present any pictures of these people, whereas this time I'm going to show you the photos of the people that were involved and the role that they played. Okay, so just a quick recap again. All right, so it's all about this guy here, Undy. Okay, he became a police informant. You can see on his ankle here, that is a recording device. Okay, so that's what he strapped on in order to become a covert police informant. So he wasn't giving written statement, he wasn't giving testimony, he was using that ankle bracelet to record people and provide information to the police. Okay, so here is the ankle bracelet. This is it here, you can clearly see. Okay, all right, so look at the size of it and the type of it, and also pay particular attention to that little lever on the bottom. Okay, now this was the original bail anklet that he was wearing, and that was taken off and replaced with this one in early May or mid-May 2019. Okay, all right, so basically what happened was he was caught trafficking a kilo of cocaine into far north Queensland, Australia. I was a friend of his, I used to live with him at the time, okay, so I had certain knowledge of things that he was doing, and that's why the police came after me, because they knew I had intricate knowledge of his dealings and the people he was involved with. They tried to entrap me in order to get me to give them that information that would have implicated his suppliers, and then they were hoping to use myself and another informant who was picked up at the time to testify against the suppliers that supplied Undy. Okay, so Undy gave everybody up, but he wasn't giving written statements, and he wasn't going to stand up in court and testify. Okay, so that's why they came after me. They tried to get me to do it. All right, so that became a 5-year chase around the world. Started in May 2019 with their first drug entrapment attempt. They tried to set me up as a drug dealer. I wasn't, obviously, and that failed, obviously. Okay, and then they followed me through 13 countries over 5 years, tried to entrap me multiple times, so 5 times in total. They tried to drug entrap me. I knew what they were doing. That's how come it went to 5 times, because I let them, and then I caught them in the act, and then I exposed them. Okay, so that's why we are where we are now. The reason this is still going now, 5 years later, is because the police will not, they won't settle with me, they won't compensate me for what they've done, they're denying their involvement, but they're also still harassing me and stalking me and looking for ways to get to me and silence me. So I'm releasing this entire story in order to get it out there into the world, to number one, protect myself, number two, to end it, get it over and done with. Okay, I've made multiple attempts to settle this matter with them. All I've asked for is compensation for what they've done to me, and we can end it. We can go our separate ways. All right, but they're reluctant to do that because they can't admit any of what they've done, number one. Number two, they don't want to because they're embarrassed. They just want to save face. They'd rather take me out than settle with me. Okay, so here we are to continue to tell the story. So this is the continuation of episode 4. I've already released the names of the people, but now I'm going to show you the photographs of them. Okay, so I'm going to move out the way. I'm going to get my laptop and I'm going to show you what's all the people that were involved and the roles that they played. Okay, so obviously the number one culprit was Undy. This is Undy here, and again wearing his special edition ankle bracelet. All right, so he was caught trafficking a kilo of cocaine into far north Queensland back in 2018. This was, I think, late 2018. And anyway, so basically he strapped on that ankle bracelet for the police, which is a recording device, and he recorded conversations for the police. He recorded me in a cafe, set me up, framed me, and then set me up for entrapment. And then he wore that bracelet for another 2 years whilst he was on bail from 2019 to 2021, before he went to jail on his sweetheart deal, where he only served 2 years for trafficking a kilo of cocaine. It should have been a 20-plus year sentence for that crime in Australia. Class A narcotic. All right, so that's Lee Undy. He's the one that this was all about. Everything they've done to me was in order to protect his identity as an informant, and also to protect the technology inside that ankle bracelet. Now the technology inside there, I'm not sure if you can see that. Okay, but basically this thing had dual SIM cards, omnidirectional antennas. All right, that little lever at the bottom, that little lever down there was a duress alarm. In case he got in trouble, he could press the button and the police would come and save him. Okay, so it also had long life batteries. It also had the ability to broadcast back to base in real time, and it was monitored 24/7 by a monitoring team. Okay, all right, moving on. Okay, so this guy. This guy is Kev Goan. Back then he was Senior Sergeant Kev Goan. Now I believe he's Detective Inspector Kev Goan, right? He's the head of major crimes in far north Queensland. Okay, he was the guy back then who set up the entrapment against me in conjunction with, I should add, with a joint operation with Melbourne Organised Crime Squad and also the Queensland Crime and Corruption Commission. All right, so that's Kev Goan. He was the head of major crimes, and he was the one that conspired with Lee Undy to frame me. Okay, all right, this guy here. Okay, this is Bebe Mellick. Bebe Mellick was Lee Undy's lawyer, and basically they all colluded, conspired to set me up in order to get me to be the one that gave up the suppliers of the drugs into Queensland, as opposed to Lee Undy having to stand up in court and testify against them. So Bebe Mellick, Kev Goan and Lee Undy all colluded and conspired to frame me in order to get me to give up Lee Undy suppliers. Okay, so that's Bebe Mellick. All right, this one here, yeah, my former girlfriend, Lynda Hopkins. Sadly, she was caught doing something. I don't really know what happened there. I believe she got picked up drug driving. Okay, because a couple of times we would have a party night in Cairns together, and she would drive home the next day, and I think they would have caught her drug driving and then flipped her to become an informant against me. Okay, so she was working for the police. I won't say she was an informant as such, because there was nothing that she could tell them about me that they didn't already know, but she helped them set me up. Okay, so she drove me to the apartment in Palm Cove in late May 2019 where they tried to entrap me. She drove me there knowing they were coming to get me, and basically she was working with them against me. So that's Lynda Hopkins. All right. Okay, now this guy, Jesse Mawson. Okay, now Jesse never did anything to me, but Jesse was the one that ratted in the first place, which forced Christian, the other gentleman that was picked up, in order to force him to become an informant. Okay, so Jesse Mawson was the first one to give up everything he knew about Lee Undy and Christian's drug dealing, so that forced Christian into a position whereby he had to also become an informant, because he had no choice. All right, so Jesse Mawson is the guy that gave everything up at the very first instance. Okay, how do I know that? Well, I'm about to tell you. All right, so this is a message from Christian to me after he was released from police custody back in, I think this was 2021. He sent me this message about a month after I released a video online showing that Lee Undy was a police informant. Okay, so he's just telling me here a bit about what went on. He said, things you may not know. I lied in my 5-hour CCC inquiry to protect Lee. I was later charged with treason. I'm not sure if he means treason or perjury, but anyway. And he asked me if I knew about CCC inquiries, which I did. And then he said the table turned when police arrested Lee that day to make it look like I dogged. All right, and they arrested my 76-year-old mother for trafficking because she lent me money. Okay, so that's part one. Part two. Okay, so this is the bit that really matters. He said Lee bragged about the kilo pickup to a guy named Jesse. That's Jesse Mawson. Okay, so the kilo pickup of cocaine. And he gave up everything he knew about myself and Lee's dealings in a CCC inquiry. They knew everything. Yes, I ratted on information that they already knew to break a deal, to not drag my mum through the stress of being charged. I played the best cards I was given. So he's basically explaining to me why he had to do what he had to do, which was become a police informant. Okay, so that's, that's the crux of it. That's who was involved, and that's what it was all about. So that's who was involved, and that's what it was all about. Okay, so basically that kicked off back then, 2019. That kicked off a 5-year chase around the world. Okay, I've been chased around the world for 5 years through 13 countries By who? Well, by Interpol, number one, okay, because that's who you need when you go international. You need Interpol, right? But like I said, it was a joint operation originally between Cairns Major Organised Crime Squad, Melbourne Organised Crime Squad, and the Queensland Crime and Corruption Commission, okay? Then once I left Australia, followed me around the world with the help of Interpol, okay? And then also here in the UK, where I am now, and I'm still fighting a battle against these corrupt police, it's the NCA, so the National Crime Agency. So this is where we're at now, 5 years in, and we're still going. Okay, this was just the update on episode 4. I've actually completed up to episode 10, and they're all on my Facebook page because there's a lot of photographic evidence with those. So I've done them in written word with all the photos and screenshots as the evidence. So they're all posted on my Facebook page. You'll find it on my Telegram channel as well. Okay, I'll pop those links down below. Okay, but 5 to 10 now, I'm now going to reshoot on video the same as these ones. Okay, so that's all for now, folks. If you've been following, thanks very much. I appreciate your interest. It's a crazy, crazy story. Probably the biggest international corrupt police witch hunt since Assange and Snowden. Okay, so it's pretty big. And so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.